All right, so the first thing I'm going to show in Lovable is a pretty simple one. I think I've mentioned probably before, I have a local newsletter, mildly dormant, but let's not talk about that. We're going to restart this thing any day now. And it's about my hometown, Havertown, and just kind of everything happening here. So it usually talks about a couple of news events, a couple of upcoming community events. And the hook that I'm trying to set up now, the offer really is offering people exclusive discounts to businesses in the Havertown area. So like if you sign up as a subscriber, you get X, number of or X dollar value of discounts to local businesses, restaurants, shops, whatever it might be. This is my current landing page. Now, I'll be honest with you. I haven't updated this in some time. It hits some of the mark. If any of you have ever done any of AWeber's trainings on like the 5 core elements of a landing page,
hey, Jesse, I'm just jumping in really quick. Yeah. I'm looking at the actual feed in YouTube, and it looks like it's vertical video aligned. I'm not sure if you're seeing that as well.
I'm not, and my preview of it is not. So I would say if that's a lot of people, we should figure that out. But
ignore me.
Check the device that you're on, because we are streaming both vertical and horizontal, and it's detecting your device. So maybe double check your orientation or device that you're using.
Cool.
I know that the stream that I'm watching on the side here is horizontal. So if you ever checked out any of AWeber's trainings on like the 5 core elements of a good landing page, I missed about 2 of them here. I have not updated this in some time, and I'll let people guess at what those might be. But we're going to make sure when we go to Lovable in a second that we prompt for those things, because just want Lovable to easily design a much more engaging and pretty landing page. I wanted to create one that's going to convert better. And I wanted to create one that's going to be easily publishable and live in a short matter of time. So jumping over into Lovable,
And while you're pulling that up, we have a couple questions from people asking, can you use Claude to do this? Can you use ChatGPT to do this? You can use tools like Claude or ChatGPT to write landing page content for you. We're showing you 2 separate tools today. One is called Lovable, and then we'll show you one called Replit, which are specifically built to build pages. So in addition to having the AI for creating a page, they also have tools to actually host your page on the internet somewhere, and sometimes even have databases so you could have users and saved information. So this is different, meaningfully different from just using Claude or ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do cover those in the way that you're using. I think what's especially exciting about today's is that they're both these tools, especially Lovable, even more than Replit, but both of them are much more user friendly. So less to connect, and it's funny because I think we've talked about how Claude Design is kind of coming for certain things, but there's certain drawbacks still to Claude Design. It doesn't do image creation super well. Yeah. It'll try to through like CSS and HTML, but some of these tools have access to image generation tools and things like that. So, and you'll see that in a moment here. I'm gonna show a little cheat code here. I showed this before, and I like to do this often, but I actually went into Claude first, and I said, I asked it, I'm going to use Lovable to build a landing page for my Havertown News newsletter. The incentive is $100 worth of discounts to local businesses for signing up. Here's the current site. Gave them the URL.
What a deal, Jesse.
Hey, I'm still trying to lock in those business owners, but we're close. I want something more substantive, modern, exciting, vibrant, interactive. Here's the one thing that I was talking about with the AWeber training. Above the hero should include 5 core elements of a good landing page: a clear promise or offer, a CTA that begs to be clicked, the minimum fields necessary, name and email only, a trust element, and it should be a mobile responsive page. And then I asked Claude, please write a comprehensive prompt for me to give to Lovable. You don't have to do that. You can start just with that prompt that I gave Claude and ask Lovable to get started there, and it's pretty solid at it. But I've also I've enjoyed kind of pairing the two at times and really getting a really substantive prompt from Claude, and it just gets me to a like finished product faster. But like I said, absolutely unnecessary, but a possible approach. So I'm actually going to use that. I'm going to drop in this prompt that I was given by Claude after my little simple one. And we'll actually, you know what, we'll do both. So I'm going to ask it to build a modern, vibrant, interactive landing page based on everything that I just gave Claude. And it gave me kind of a style guide and very clear direction here. We're going to get that going. While that's going, and we'll come back and check this version because it's gonna get creative in different ways. I think, I think it'll take a different approach despite the fairly specific instructions. I will say one of the things I love about Lovable, I like about Lovable, I promise to never say that again, is it is really creative. It creates very like modern, vibrant pages and web apps typically. You can always obviously prompt it further, but I think its bias is towards creativity versus, kind of wireframey basic stuff. And sometimes that just brings out stuff that I wasn't even necessarily thinking of. So while that's running, and we will come back and check on it, I'm actually going to bring you over to what I produced earlier today using that same prompt. And here's the page that it created. Now, this is pretty rad because it does a few things. I didn't ask for imagery. It brought in imagery, and actually, and Chris, you also live in Havertown. Tell me if
That's
is not
Brookline Boulevard.
one picture of actual shops on Brookline Boulevard. Actually,
yeah.
On the left side, you can see the sports bar where I bumped into Chris on his way in to watch the Sixers lose miserably a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, how incredible is that? So again, this is one of those things where Claude Design, as we've demoed, and it has tons of value and use, would have probably created some kind of image asset there, right, Chris? But it wouldn't have had access to create an accurate, restyled one-off image the way Lovable just accessed a tool and did. It uses a color palette that was suggested, a clear promise in the H1 there, get $100 in local Havertown discounts, plus everything happening in town every week. It's introduced those trust elements that I was missing. The CTA, it says claim my $100 in local deals. It no longer simply states sign up, or I forget what I said on my other one. And then what's really cool is it builds out this entire page. Like, look how great this is. The offer, what's in your $100. It lists out all these restaurants that you're going to get, coffee shops,
boutiques,
clothing boutique, a gift shop, the deli that's renowned in the area. And you're going to get, it shows you the places that you're going to be getting discounts to. So like, hey, if I'm not already incentivized that I'm going to get $100 in local Havertown discounts.
Yeah.
Now it's thought. I didn't really give it specific direction to like build out additional content and show this stuff in that, even though I got that better prompt, it still wasn't in there. And it just thought to say, okay, I did ask for a high converting landing page, and it referenced what it knew about what good landing pages had.
So I'm curious, this is an awesome page, but I'm curious about some of the other default behaviors. Like, what does that form do? Does it actually submit to your list? We had a couple people ask for you to share the prompt that you used to generate this page, which is really cool. And I'm going to use this as a pitch to say, we didn't do it last time, but I promise you afterwards today, I will do this. If you go to aweber.com/shift and sign up for the newsletter on that page, I will send a newsletter or an email today with the fun and interesting prompts that we use if you want to try them for yourself.
Yeah, and maybe as a PS on that one, because we did drop the ball on that, we'll send that that deliverable that we promised last episode of the criteria that Chris uses in his prompt. So yeah, we will share that. It's too long to paste into a chat bubble. But again, I do want to remind, when you see that prompt, I just want you to remember, like, what I prompted Claude for to get that expansive prompt was 2 paragraphs, 4 sentences. So this was not like some large lift. I don't want that to become like the impression of like, oh, now I've got to write this prompt. I had Claude write the prompt for Lovable. Complete cheat code, but really effective. So yeah, so it built out like where I'm going to get stuff. It talked about what you get every week, top news, upcoming events, the weather outlook, new openings and picks. It's not making this stuff up. This is what is in the newsletters. When I gave it the site of past newsletters, it was able to identify what is included in each issue. It gives a preview. So again, a good landing, Chris, you've talked about this before in a lot that you've built. Like if I don't win their attention here, but they haven't bounced, they haven't left, it means they're interested, but they're not convinced. Right?
Yes.
So that next section, what else do they need to know? Okay, let's unpack the $100. If that's not enough, okay, here's what's going to happen every week in your inbox in this newsletter. If that's not enough, all right, take a look at the last issue. It's right here. You know, it's this idea of as they scroll, okay, they're still interested, they haven't left, but they have not been motivated to action yet. I think one thing I would ask it to change right away is like add a sticky form to the header as I scroll. Cause like the one thing that I would hate for them to do is hit that moment of, all right, I want to do it. And they got to go find the form again.
Yeah. Jesse, did you give it an image of you? I'm sorry, I missed this.
I actually, so that was one iteration I did. I gave it did a hand-drawn image of what it thought I looked like. I was not as handsome as the result, so I thought I'd be more honest. I did a little inception here. I gave it my AI generated headshot and it created an AI generated illustrated version of my AI generated headshot.
Nice.
Say that 4 times fast. I dare you. But just incredible. I mean, we're talking, I spent 20 minutes on this max, and that's with a few iterations. Now, here's what's really cool about this too. If I'm ready to go with this, I'm not going to publish live here because I haven't locked in the $100 discounts, and I do not want to misrepresent the newsletter yet. But I'm telling you, this is going to be live in a few days. It's like 2-click publishing with Lovable. I think what's really neat is you click publish up here in the corner. And let me see if I can get it to zoom more into this box. Oh, too far. And now we've lost everything. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
When I click the publish button, it's going to ask me the URL. Now, by default, it will give you a Lovable URL. So Havertown, it came up with havertownloveletter.lovable.app. I mean, it's not far off. It really is a love letter to Havertown. I can edit that. I can click to edit and change what that subdomain of the lovable.app URL would be if I just want to use that. But I can also very simply click to add a custom domain. And what that's going to do is it's going to ask me if I want to buy a new one, or if I already have one, I can connect one. Now I have one. It's havertown.news. So I enter that and click continue. I'm going to have it at the root domain and click connect. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a look at that, and it's going to identify using a third-party tool where that's registered. And assuming it's one of a long list. And you know what? This was happening this morning. There's something, it's either Entry, the third-party tool, or it's Lovable, or it's Squarespace where it's registered, but something's not connecting. Of course, this is what happens when we do things live. But essentially, it will identify where you have that registered, and you'll click authorize. It will jump you into your domain register, where all you have to click is, yep, allow Lovable to do that. And it bumps you back and it updates the DNS record, which is what points the site now at havertown.news. Done. Live.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about any of those values. You don't have to know any of your DNS records. You just hit the button. That is awesome.
They have manual steps in case you need that. But it's absolutely unnecessary. And then you can also choose, like, is this going to be public? Is this only available to people in my workspace for now? Maybe if it's, a project that's in review or something like that, or you can invite specific people. Yeah. And then you can
also, tool or something too. That could be another way that you use that with your team alone.
And you can update your meta info. So how it's going to show up in search results or when it's shared on social or something like that. So the title and your little favicon or icon, the description, it comes up with, like, I didn't write this. It comes up with what it thinks is best, but you can modify it before you go. You can generate a social preview image, or you can upload your own if you have one. I found mixed results with the generating the social image. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's like totally out of whack and off kilter. That'd be fine. I'd go with that. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then it gives you a preview of how it's going to show up in like Google search results. Again, that is it. You click publish, and about 10 seconds later, your site is live.
It's almost too easy. What are they up to over there?
I know. I mean, but I just want to reiterate this before we move off of Lovable. Like, there's so many use cases too. Like, okay, so I showed like a newsletter landing page. The way we came into this topic was the other day on one of the episodes. People were talking about like how to build landing pages with other builders. So that's one example, but it's limitless. Really, Lovable and Replit that we're going to talk about in a minute, they can do a lot more than just landing pages. You can build full sites, which I have done. You can build web apps. So one of the things that I thought was really cool is I built a web app for a fitness tool. Now, my thinking is if I'm a fitness instructor or a personal trainer or an online fitness coach, and I want to provide my clients a proprietary branded app that they have access to where I can keep track of their progress and they can track their progress and we can interact and I can send them daily motivation in there and things like that. You can do that. I built this out and it's AI based. So it asks what to call me. I'm Jesse. I want to build muscle. My current weight is, everybody look away. We're going to call it 180. Your target weight is, I'm right where I want to be, 180. This is believable, right? Moderately active, and I have a home gym. And I love cardio and lifting. And I want to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And 45 minutes a day. No limitations. And now it's going to ask them to create an account. And which, hey, let's just do.
And that was something that you built, right? Like you wanted that to be a lead magnet into creating an account, right?
Correct. You want them to like get far enough in. And this was built kind of a little bit more in mind of like a public audience, but you could build this without like that whole questionnaire could be inside the app and you provide the location to your clients and they create their plan within there with you, or you create the plan for them as their fitness instructor. Again, this is just one of those examples. Like these tools, this was built in about an hour. These tools, you don't have to rely on expensive external resources or white labeled third-party expensive tools for your clients. You can build exactly what you need that's tailored to fit exactly the way that you coach your clients. You could be a coach of any sort and have like a resource app that's specific to what they need. You can be a content creator and create your own course platform and stop paying for other course platforms to provide your content. So again, just, I think it's fairly limitless. And my biggest plea, if you're interested in Lovable, would be like, go in and just start trying to create stuff. None of it has to be published. None of it has to be publicly available. I think you'll be pretty surprised about what you can create. And I think what I enjoy the most about it is just how end to end from like initial prompt to a published app or page is really pain-free.
Yeah. And that, I think that's a really good point too, Jesse, because like basically everything that Jesse and I have learned about working with AI tools and this whole new world of, how to build stuff just came from experimentation, from opening a tool up, opening Claude Code or Lovable or Replit or whatever, and just trying things, seeing what worked and what didn't. And we've said this on every episode till now. We're going to say it again. And working under this assumption that if you don't get back exactly what you want after your first ask, that doesn't mean you should give up. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It means that you have to give it more context, tell a better story to the tool that you're working with so it can better understand your goals, what you like and what you don't like. Because I remember Jesse was playing with Lovable early on, like it must have been almost a year ago, and was just sharing really interesting stuff that he was just playing with, and was learning about the interface and how to talk to a thing that builds websites for you. Um, and then we just go back and forth now. Like, that got me interested. So then I started playing with Lovable, and then we learn different things because we think differently and we try different things, and we
Mhm.
just get better together.